But I think there's two big stories out of the NFL. And one is Kirk Cousins is out for the year with Achilles tendon tear. And Kirk Cousins is an interesting one. Now, some of it is just the fact that he's been a good player especially since he's been with the Vikings. Maybe some of it is that they won a playoff game in New Orleans, but a lot of it is that reality show that you might have watched about quarterbacks where you're like, he's just a damn good guy. Plus, yardage-wise, completion percentage-wise, there's no reason to think that had he kept playing well and didn't get hurt, he'd be a candidate for MVP. He's on pace to throw for 5,500 yards. But he tears his Achilles tendon, and it should be pointed out it's on grass. So I think what happens is when we see a one-off injury, when we see one person get hurt, we have a tendency to overreact. And I don't want to overreact even with two people getting hurt because there's a lot of different ways you can get hurt in the National Football League. But Kirk Cousins being done shows that it has nothing to do with grass or turf sometimes. He was playing on a real, natural grass surface. Of course, Aaron Rodgers was playing on a turf surface. I do think the older you are, the more susceptible you are to this. I would guess that every doctor you tell to would tell you that if you play sports at that level for long enough, you're going to wear down. Eventually, it's a possibility. We've now seen Kobe do it. Dominique Wilkins has done it. Aaron Rodgers has done it. And Kirk Cousins has done it. But that's a tough one considering the Vikings were in the conversation of being the hottest teams in the National Football League. And Cousins has been a gigantic part of their resurgence this year. Matter of fact, he wasn't bad when they were bad. They were simply bad when they were bad. The other one is, you guys know me, I don't hate to say I told you so, so I told you so. Here's Brock Purdy talking about how he felt during the game.
I felt 100%, all week. My symptoms and stuff weren't as bad compared to many other concussions that the team has had, and I was doing fine and was doing great for each phase of the protocol. And then when I got cleared, we all thought I was going to get cleared, and sure enough, I did. So I felt 100% going into this game.
Here's Kyle Shanahan summing up the loss.
Thought he was one of the reasons we were in the game today. Some of those throws he made out there were unbelievable. The mistake in the red zone, missing the handoff was the biggest part. And then once you do that, you can't throw it or you're going to get the penalty. But on worse that he got the pick. He was aggressive, thought the mic was going to pass on that second pick, and the mic fell off right with Juwan. So just got to see it. I mean, he had those turnovers, but the guy made some really good plays in the game. And when it came down to there at the end, and we're getting a little bit one-dimensional, especially that pick when we were backed up there inside the red zone, or the negative red zone was the worst one.
Yeah, so I think if you listen to Shanahan, he's still all in, but everybody's faith is at some level shaken. And what he's saying is accurate. Like, look, when I say that I don't think Brock Purdy is going to be good enough to win a Super Bowl, it doesn't mean that Brock Purdy's not good enough to be a starting quarterback. But this team isn't being judged on can they get to the playoffs, can they get into the conference finals, right? Can they get to the NFC Championship game? They're built to win a Super Bowl now. They have two quarterbacks making no money. And with Deebo Samuel out, with Trent Williams out, it's a little bit harder. And the point is that can he make the throws? Yeah. Can he make the throws under duress or on the move? And can he make the creative throws and find people or throws people open? No. And I can't tell you without a doubt that will happen, but it stands to reason that most years teams are banged up the longer they play. Now we have 17 games plus the playoffs. They're not going to get the number one overall seed. So you're going to count on somebody who you think can make all the throws and some of the reads, lack some of the experience and may lack something outside the numbers. Right? Or you're going to go with somebody who can make the throws, can make the reads. I don't know if Sam Darnold's a better quarterback, for 17 games in the regular season. Kyle Shanahan knows that offense, knows those players, believes in his guys. That's what he thinks. But doesn't Sam Darnold feel like, to me, he feels like the type of guy that can come in and make the plays that Brock Purdy cannot. Here's Shanahan when he was asked if they're going to add anything around the trade deadline.
None of this changes anything with the trade deadline, how we played today or how we played these last 3 weeks. When you sit and you watch tape, when you're out there on the field, and I know how these last 2 weeks especially have felt, but I do believe we have the answers in our building. I believe we have good players. I believe we have good coaches. It's up to me to get them to do better. I thought we started out pretty good, but there's some things that we haven't been able to hide here these last few weeks, and that's why we got to continue to push them in every aspect, because some people do go on these losing streaks and they don't have those answers, and you're just living in hope.
Yeah, I like what he said there, right? We have these answers inside of our building. Now, he didn't necessarily say those answers inside of his building are in the starting lineup. I continue to sit there and wonder if, and he's different from Dak Prescott, but I remember when Dak Prescott was a rookie and who was it, Tony Romo got healthy, right? I was sitting there working for a different company at the time saying I would put Tony Romo in. He's got more experience, and I just think he's got a better ceiling, a higher ceiling than what they have with Dak Prescott. And to this point, it wasn't like Tony Romo was ever good in the playoffs either. Dak hasn't been good enough in the playoffs. But here with Sam Darnold, I don't think Sam Darnold is as solid, is as efficient, is as crisp, makes the right, smart, easy play like Purdy does. But when you're down your left tackle, when you're down your best wide receiver, can he make plays that other guys can't make? And can he take some chances and create some things that weren't there previously? I think the answer is yes. Brock Purdy's exactly who we thought he was. And once again, the Bengals didn't let him off the hook.